Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why you want what you want? Why you chase the promotion, the perfect body, the dream house? What if I told you that the deepest prison isn't made of bars, but of desires you think are yours? Aldous Huxley saw something most people spend their entire lives never realizing. Society doesn't need to force you into submission. It just needs to make you love your own cage. Right now, you're probably exhausted. Working harder than ever, scrolling more than ever, buying more than ever, yet feeling emptier than ever. And when that emptiness hits, what do? You don't question the system. You question yourself. But what if the problem isn't you? What if you've been programmed to chase dreams that were never meant to fulfill you? Huxley predicted our modern world with terrifying accuracy. He saw that true control doesn't come from oppression, but from distraction. From making you so busy chasing manufactured desires that you never ask the one question that could set you free. Whose dreams am I actually living? In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal something that will change how you see your entire life. We'll explore the invisible architecture of control that shapes every decision you make, every desire you feel, every goal you chase. And if you appreciate this kind of depth, this level of truth that most content avoids, feel free to support this work with a like and subscribe to the channel. Because what we're about to explore together isn't just theory. This is about your life right now, today. This isn't just about understanding society's manipulation. It's about recognizing why you feel trapped even with more freedom than any generation in history. Why you have everything you thought you wanted, but still feel like something essential is missing. Get ready, because what you're about to discover changes how you see yourself. Most people believe they're free. They wake up, make choices, pursue goals, and call it freedom. But here's what Huxley saw that nobody else did. The most effective control isn't about limiting choices. It's about controlling what you choose, making you want exactly what the system needs you to want. And the genius? You defend it. You fight for it. You call it your dream. From birth, you've been swimming in an ocean of carefully constructed desires. The perfect career, the relationship goals, the body standards, the lifestyle aspirations. Every advertisement, every movie, every social media post whispers the same message. This is what success looks like. This is what happiness means. And slowly, without realizing it, you adopted these dreams as your own. Huxley gave this a name: soft totalitarianism. Not brutal dictatorships, but something more insidious. A system so sophisticated, it makes you police yourself. You don't need guards when people willingly lock themselves pursuing manufactured desires. You don't need chains when people forge their own, believing they're building ladders to freedom. The tragedy isn't that you're controlled. It's that you're controlled and think you're free. Carl Jung uncovered something darker from a psychological angle. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Most of your desires aren't coming from your authentic self. They're coming from what he termed the collective unconscious, the shared programming that lives inside your mind without permission. You think you want the corner office, but really you've internalized society's definition of success. You think you want the Instagram perfect life, but really you're chasing validation in a game designed to keep you perpetually unsatisfied. Here's what's disturbing. The system doesn't want you happy. It wants you hopeful, because hope keeps you running on the treadmill. If you achieved your dreams and felt complete, you'd stop consuming, stop producing, stop playing. So the dream stays just out of reach. Get the promotion, then you need the bigger house. Get the house, then you need the car. The finish line keeps moving, and you keep chasing, never stopping to ask why. In Brave New World, Huxley painted a future where people were oppressed by pleasure. not pain, where every uncomfortable emotion was medicated away, where distraction was infinite, where the pursuit of happiness made genuine happiness impossible. Look around. We're living in that world. Endless entertainment, but no real joy. Infinite connection, but profound loneliness. Complete freedom to choose, but no idea what we actually want. The first sign creeps up slowly. It's exhaustion that doesn't make sense. You're doing everything right, checking boxes, following the formula. Yet you feel hollowed out, going through motions that once excited you but now feel mechanical. This isn't burnout. This is your soul rebelling against a life it never chose. Here's what Huxley saw about the human spirit. It has an immune system. When you're living authentically, you feel energized, even working hard. But when living a borrowed dream, even rest doesn't restore you. The exhaustion is existential. You're tired because daily you betray yourself, and some part knows it. Jung explored this through what he called the shadow, the disowned parts you locked away to fit society's mold. The shadow doesn't disappear. It drains your energy from inside, leaving you perpetually depleted. If you're feeling this exhaustion right now, if something inside you is resonating with these words, then you're already waking up. Write in the comments what dream you've been chasing that might not actually be yours. Just naming it begins to break its power, because what comes next reveals exactly how to escape this prison. Here's where it gets personal. The happiness paradox. You achieve goals, and instead of satisfaction, you feel emptiness. You get the promotion you worked years for, and within days, you're focused on the next one. You reach the weight target, and immediately the goalposts move. You buy the car, the house, the watch, and the excitement lasts maybe a week before it becomes invisible. Huxley saw this coming. In Brave New World, citizens had unlimited pleasure, yet needed a drug just to cope. Because pleasure without purpose is elaborate emptiness. The system trains you to mistake achievement for fulfillment, consumption for satisfaction, believing the next external thing will fill the internal void. But it never does, because you're trying to solve a spiritual problem with material solutions. Jung gave this a name, neurosis, a substitute for legitimate suffering. When you avoid confronting who you actually are, when you run from discovering your authentic desires, your psyche creates artificial suffering, the endless dissatisfaction, the moving goalposts, the perpetual sense something's missing. This isn't random. This is your soul demanding you pay attention. The system exploits this brilliantly. It keeps you focused on external metrics because as long as you're looking outward, you'll never look inward. As long as you're chasing the next achievement, you won't ask why nothing satisfies you. And when you do stop, when you feel that emptiness, the system has an answer ready. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't achieve enough. The problem is never the dream. Always your execution. Notice the pattern emerging here. Comparison addiction. You can't help measuring yourself against others constantly. Every achievement feels hollow unless it's better than someone else's. You're not living your life. You're performing it for an invisible audience, trying to prove worth through external validation. The scoreboard never shows enough. This is where Huxley's insight cuts deepest. People weren't compared to what they could be, but to each other endlessly, creating hierarchy based entirely on conformity to system values. You weren't valuable because of unique gifts, but how well you played everyone else's game. This creates the perfect prison. People police each other, reinforcing the very system that oppresses them all. Jung explored this as identification with the persona, the social mask. When you mistake it for your true self, you lose touch with authentic being. Your self-worth becomes completely dependent on external validation, forever at the mercy of others' judgments. You've given away your power to a system designed to keep you powerless. If you're recognizing this pattern, if you're seeing how much of your life has been performance rather than presence, then say this out loud. I am not my achievements. I am not my possessions. I am not what others think of me. Say it like you're breaking a spell. Because you are. This one hits different. Distraction dependency. You can't sit with yourself. Silence feels unbearable. The moment you're alone with thoughts, you reach for your phone, scroll, consume, anything to avoid discomfort of your own presence. Always busy but never present. Perpetually connected, but fundamentally alone. Here's what Huxley saw that terrifies most people. Not a world where information was restricted, but where we drowned in it. Where distraction was so abundant, people would choose it over reality. Where entertainment replaced actual living. You don't need to ban books when people are too distracted to read them. You don't need to control information when you bury truth under an avalanche of trivia. Jung uncovered why this works so well. People will do anything to avoid facing their own souls, because facing yourself requires confronting uncomfortable truths, acknowledging the gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be, feeling the pain you've been running from. So, you distract, you numb, you keep perpetually occupied, so you never sit with silence long enough to hear what it's telling you. The system depends on this. As long as you're distracted, you're controllable. As long as you're numb, you're manageable. Because real change, authentic transformation, revolutionary consciousness, these only emerge in silence, in stillness where you can hear your own voice beneath the noise. The final sign reveals everything. The meaning crisis. You have everything the system told you to want, yet life feels fundamentally meaningless. You're successful, but purposeless, comfortable but empty, free but lost. You've achieved the dream, and it's a nightmare of hollow victories and shallow satisfactions. This is where most people's minds break. Huxley understood humans need meaning more than pleasure. We're spiritual creatures who die inside when reduced to mere consumers. Life of comfort without purpose is torture. In Brave New World, despite all pleasures, citizens were dead inside because they lacked the one thing that makes life worth living. The struggle towards something meaningful, the challenge of becoming something real. Jung spent decades studying this. The most common source of psychological suffering wasn't trauma, but meaninglessness. People with comfortable lives but no purpose suffered just as much, often more, than people facing genuine difficulties. Because humans are meaning-making creatures, we need to feel our lives matter, that struggles serve something beyond survival, that there's some deeper point to existence. The system creates this crisis deliberately, because meaningful lives are unpredictable, uncontrollable, and unprofitable. People pursuing authentic purpose don't make good consumers. They're not trying to fill internal voids with external purchases. They're too busy living real lives to play artificial games that drive economic growth. If you're in this meaning crisis, if you're feeling emptiness despite achievements, know this. You're not broken. The dream is broken. Your emptiness is a gift, a signal you're ready for something real. Write in the comments one thing that actually makes you feel alive, separate from any achievement or status, because naming it begins the journey back to yourself. Now we arrive at the deepest truth. You were never meant to be free. The entire system, from education to employment to entertainment, is designed to create obedient dreamers, people who chase manufactured desires without questioning their origin, people who measure themselves by external metrics without looking inward. You weren't taught critical thinking. You were taught to memorize and obey. You weren't encouraged to discover your authentic self. You were trained to perform an acceptable version. The genius is, you call this freedom. You can choose any dream, as long as you choose from the pre-approved list. You can be anything, as long as you desire what the system needs. You can live any life, as long as you imagine within acceptable parameters. This is what Huxley meant when he said, "People would love their servitude." You're not aware you're serving because you think you're choosing. Jung saw the distinction clearly. The ego versus the self. The ego is your socially constructed identity built to fit the system. The self is your authentic being existing independent of conditioning. Most people live entirely in the ego, never glimpsing the self. They die never having lived as themselves, spending decades performing a role written by others. But the prison isn't out there. It's in here. The chains are made of beliefs, assumptions, desires you've internalized so completely you think they're yours. You can't escape by running because you take the prison with you. You can't break free by achieving more because achievement within the system only strengthens its hold. The only way out is through examining every dream, questioning every desire, deconstructing every assumption until you discover what's real underneath all the programming. This is what both Huxley and Jung called us toward. Not rebellion for its own sake, but liberation through self-knowledge. Not rejecting society entirely, but understanding it clearly enough that it no longer controls you unconsciously. Not abandoning all dreams, but discovering which ones are authentically yours versus implanted. This is the work of awakening, and it's the hardest work you'll ever do because it requires questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself. True freedom isn't about external circumstances. It's about internal sovereignty. Becoming so conscious of how you've been shaped that you can finally choose who you want to become. Not based on others' expectations, not driven by manufactured desires, but guided by your authentic self that's been waiting your whole life to be heard. Once you see the machinery of control, you can never unsee it. Once you recognize borrowed dreams, you can never fully believe them again. Once you taste authentic presence, distraction loses appeal. Once you glimpse real meaning, substitute satisfactions ring hollow. You can't go back to sleep once you've woken up. And while this feels disorienting, it's actually the beginning of real life. Life on your terms. Life guided by your truth. Life that's actually yours. The choice is yours now. You can close this and go back to comfortable numbness. Keep chasing dreams society gave you. Keep measuring yourself by external standards. Keep distracting from discomfort. Keep pretending the next achievement will fill the void. The system will welcome you back. It needs you to keep playing. Or you can take the harder path. The path of genuine awakening. Start questioning every desire to discover which are actually yours. Begin the uncomfortable work of sitting with yourself without distraction. Face the meaning crisis and commit to building a life of authentic purpose rather than borrowed significance. Become sovereign over your own consciousness rather than a puppet dancing to invisible strings. This isn't easy. Everyone around you is still playing the game, and they'll pressure you to keep playing too. Your family wants you successful by their definition. Your friends want you relatable. Your culture wants you consumable. Breaking free means disappointing people, facing disapproval, walking away from opportunities that look good but feel wrong. It means building your own measures of worth when the world keeps shoving its measures in your face. But here's what both visionaries knew. A life lived authentically, even if difficult, is infinitely more real than comfortable delusion. One moment of genuine presence is worth more than years of distracted achievement. 1 hour of real meaning outweighs a lifetime of hollow victory, because you only get one life, and spending it chasing someone else's dreams is the ultimate tragedy. So I want to ask you directly, whose dreams are you living right now? What are you chasing that you never actually chose? What would you do differently if you weren't afraid of disappointing others? What makes you feel truly alive versus merely accomplished? These aren't rhetorical. They're the most important questions you'll ever answer. Your entire future hinges on whether you have courage to face them honestly. If this message resonated, if something shifted while watching this, if you're ready to question dreams rather than just chase them, then you've found your people. This isn't just a channel. It's a community of individuals committed to authentic living in a world of manufactured desires. People who understand real freedom is internal. Genuine meaning can't be bought. Worth isn't determined by external achievement. We don't offer easy answers or quick fixes. We offer depth, truth, and support you need to walk the harder path. Subscribe if you're ready for more of this depth. More insights that challenge rather than comfort. More truths that disturb rather than distract. More content that asks you to wake up rather than sleep better in comfortable delusion. This is for questioners, seekers, ones who feel something fundamental is wrong with the prescribed life and are ready to discover what's real. Join us. Share your journey in the comments. Tell us what dream you're finally ready to question. Connect with others walking this path, because together we reclaim sovereignty, one conscious choice at a time.